story. I got back from Worldcon yesterday at like 5 p.m. and somehow managed to have an amazingly productive day. My laundry's done, the house is more or less clean, like all the animals are taken care of, and I am basically caught up at work. I don't know what happened. It is still going to take me quite a while to go ahead and get my Worldcon vlog all kind of situated the way I want. There's a lot of footage from a multiple of different places. I'm a little nervous that some of it is gonna come up looking wonky or in different formats. We'll see. But I figured until I got that done, we could go ahead and do a book haul. This year, Worldcon was held in Dublin, Ireland, and I traveled there with Rachel from Kalanadi. Together, we met up with a whole ton of booktube folks. I have so much footage and it was so enjoyable. We roomed with Claire from Rousseau, and Andrea from Infinite Text, and Rhea from the Book Finch. And there were so many more booktubers there. There was Maija and Thomas and Bex and John, and there was Shannon from That's So Poe, and just so many people. It was a blast. One time we went to dinner and like, I swear to goodness, like we had to reserve a table for like almost 20 of us. It was mind-boggling. I got to spend good time with Elizabeth from Books and Pieces and kind of bounce around town and go to the Disney store and do things like that. And of course, what do you do when you have a bunch of booktubers together? You go book shopping. And also, because we had a big contingent from the Stitchin' Bitch, we went yarn shopping too, and it was so much fun. We're gonna start with the books, and then I'm gonna show you the candies and the yarn that I came home with. I tried to keep my bag light when I packed so that I could come home with a decent amount of things, and I managed 9 books, 1 comic, a couple samplers, and a bunch of yarn and candy. So the first 2 books I'm going to show you, I actually got at a publisher party for Rebellion Press. That is Redemption's Blade, this is Adrian Tchaikovsky, and Yoon Ha Lee's Hexarchate Stories. I'm really excited for Hexarchate Stories in particular because I love the machineries of Empire. I loved like following Jadao and Cheris and just that entire adventure. I have Redemption's Blade. This is a new fantasy, I think, by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I haven't read The Children of Time yet, but I saw this, the name jumped out at me, and it's actually a reasonable length, unlike The Children of Time, which is like 700 pages. Not to say that I don't read 700 page long stories, but they are hefty. So the con floor was amazing, and there were some booksellers there, but aside from the Yoon Ha Lee and Adrian Tchaikovsky stories, that was really, I really didn't get much at the con itself. The one book I did actually get at the con itself is Never Stop. This is Finnish short fiction, and it was edited by Emmy Interanta, and I loved her. Like, her stories, Memory of Water, like, I'm all about reading that, and I trust her taste, so I'm hoping that this will be really good. And while it has some names that I recognize, it has a lot of folks who I don't recognize also. So there's a whole list of Finnish authors who I've never read before, and I'm really excited to get the opportunity to read more translated work. The kind of a fun fact of the con was that for the most part, I didn't get my books at the dealer's floor. There were a lot of different booths, a lot of different artists, but when it came to the books that I purchased, I actually, for the most part, got them out and about on town. We went twice to a store called Hodges Figgis, which was a blast. It was like, I want a bookstore like that. It was 2 floors, no, more than 2 floors. It had like this simultaneously very like small bookstore feel with a large bookstore collection. It was pretty outstanding, and we kept talking about it basically the entire time we were there. So I went first with just Rachel, and then again with Rachel, Maija, like Joe from Final Blow Joe, and I want to say, oh gosh, I think Rhea was there, and I mean the whole list. It was the whole list. And I picked up some stuff. The first thing I got was To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This is a really lovely little novella length one by Chambers, and it is I mean, it looks fantastic, but also I knew it was gonna run out at the con, so we picked it up before the con even started on Thursday. And so I was really excited to get this. I didn't actually manage to get it signed, which I had hoped I would be able to, but the queues were ridiculous. The next book I got was The Question Mark by Muriel Jaeger, or Jaeger, probably Jaeger. And this is a British library collection, part of their, it's part of their science fiction classics, but I never heard of it. Apparently Muriel Jaeger was a writer who released this dystopian novel between the release of 1984 and Adolf Huxley's Brave New World. And I was really intrigued at the idea that she was writing kind of juxtaposed to these two men. And I wanted to see what her idea, what a woman's idea of a dystopian would look like at the time that she was writing. So I'm super, super excited for this. I like picked it up and immediately was like, no, this one in my life. The next book that I got, I'm also super excited for, and that is Ice by Anna Kavan. The cover of this looks, I won't lie, I think it looks a lot like The Handmaid's Tale, but this is about a woman who is living at a time when the ice is taking over the world in like a post-apocalyptic, post-nuclear war society, and I'm excited to see what that was looking like. I want to say, what is the publication date on this? Yeah, this is 1967 was the original copyright, so kind of a contemporary at that time of a lot of Cold War tensions. I'm excited to see what this looks like. It is, again, super short, and something I'd never seen before. That was really something I wanted to focus on, was books that I had never seen before or that I knew I couldn't get in the States. Like, I didn't want to just get books that I knew I could pick up at Uncle Hugo's, because Uncle Hugo's and like Dreamhaven Books are both fantastic SFF places here in the Twin Cities, and they have great selections. So it had to be special. A man just went by on a teeny tiny, really rickety moped, and it looks like the moped might fall apart if he's not careful. I picked up a copy of Nicola Griffith's Slow River. Rachel has been reading through the Nicola Griffith books. This is an SF Masterworks, which I saw in a first-hand store. I always see these in half-price books, but like never anywhere else. So that was exciting. And she suggested that I read, well, basically all of Nicola Griffith's stuff. So I figured I would start with this one. It looks pretty cyberpunky. So that would be cool. And it's about a woman who wakes up with a gash in her side and doesn't know how she got there or who she is, I guess. So we will see. I'm like constantly low-key on the lookout for books to do political series stuff on. And so I saw Cory Doctorow's Homeland. And this looks like it engages with ideas of terrorism and police brutality and kind of the big brother state. And I'm super excited to engage with that content and just kind of read more of it. It is something that I try to be careful about how often I read stuff like that, because it's easy to get depressed. But I'm really excited to have this one, and the cover is awesome. This is cooler than any covers that I've seen in the US, so that was fun. And the last book that I picked up is called The Blood Print. This is by Asma Zahanat Khan, and I don't actually know anything about this one, but it says that there are those seeking to stop the oppressive spread of the talisman. And looks like the talisman suppresses knowledge and subjugates women, but of course there are people who are looking to maintain its power. I never seen this, I've never even heard of this, and the cover was beautiful. It's the one blind buy, like truly blind buy, that I got in the entire trip, and I'm very intrigued. It's very rare for me to not know what a book is or have kind of seen it and like engaged with it before publication or something like that. I'm very interested in seeing what this book is about. So the next three things I have are kind of samplers slash things I picked up. The first, I want to say Andrea grabbed for me from somewhere, and I think this was on like a freebies table, and it's Intelligence, Artificial and Human, 8 science fiction tales by Japanese authors, including a story by Taiyo Fuji. This is teeny tiny, and I'm excited for that because I love translated fiction and we don't get enough of it. I also liked Taiyo Fuji's Orbital Cloud. And then I picked up 2 samplers. One is Blood Air by Amelie Wenzhou. I don't know anything about this one, but it caught my eye. The cover is very striking. I love the darks with the white, like the contrast of that. And then I picked up Ninth House by Liga Bardugo. This is a sampler for it. And that one I'm interested to read. We'll see what I think of it. At least the parts of this. It's out in October, and I intend to read the full-length book then. Okay, let's see. I got sent home with like a whole bunch of candy. Our room, for some reason, there was so much candy in our room. I can't have a ton of candy. I have some blood sugar issues, but I figured I would ration them over time, and I could probably make it a long while on this candy. So the first stuff was brought by Raya. It's a bunch of Fazer chocolate. I've got Patkis, and I don't really know what's in this. I think there are some nuts in it. And then she also brought Marianne. This is chocolate filled with mint. I figured when she pulled it out, I was like, that's gonna be minty, because of course it has the little barber pole kind of candy aesthetic. This one is open because our room was just, we grazed on candy the entire time. It was, I would say it was gross if it wasn't always also so like enjoyable. Maija from Maija Reads brought me Fazer chocolate as well. This is my favorite. She remembered and it like made my whole day. This is their hazelnuts. I actually have a place, it's only open during the summers, and they do sell Fazer chocolate as well as a lot of candies from like around the world. But I couldn't for the life of me find the hazelnut. They have like the plain and the peppermint. And so I was super excited and super touched that she remembered. The next thing I have, and the last thing I have as far as candies go, is these are caramel wafer biscuits. They're tonics, and they are from Scotland, or at least from the Glasgow area. I got these because I got a little suckered into helping with the Glasgow bin party. Glasgow is bidding for the 2024 Worldcon, and so when I walked away, I took some of the leftover candies with me. I spent about 2 hours pouring teeny tiny thimbles of whiskey, so I felt I maybe earned them. And then the last things that I have to show you are all yarn. We went to a couple of different yarn places, and this was so exciting. It was so much fun to get to actually shop for yarn with like people who wanted to craft with me. I started on a project here. I started on a project at the con with yarn that we got, and it was so much fun to go shopping with all of my like yarn and knitting buddies. One of the things that I love about Worldcon is that so many people there like knit or crochet or like craft in some way during panels as like a way to keep your hands busy. And so I was super enthusiastic to do that, especially because so many of the Stitch and Bitch crew were there. I'm not going to pull out my actual project because I have an extra skein of the yarn that I'll show you from that instead. The first place we went is This Is Knit, and there I got this really lovely wool. It's called Relax, and it is super soft. I love this dark gray. I'm making a scarf out of it. I picked up some yarn to make my mother socks for Christmas. My mother's favorite color is sage green. And so I grabbed these. Oh, the color's coming up on camera, which is fantastic. This is a super soft, like nylon stretch sock weight yarn. I actually got two different ones. So this is the plain sage, and this one has a little bit of orange speckling that I figured I would use for like the cuff and the gusset of some socks. I'm super excited about that. This is by Olan yarn, and it's hand dyed in Ireland. So that's exciting. My mom will love that. We got those ones at the Constant Knitter, which was a very cool place. And I also picked up some Third Vault yarn. Third Vault is a hand dyeing yarn studio, and the woman there was making con exclusive yarn dye lots. So I was like, oh my god, I need some. And I picked up this really beautiful just very vivid, but also very autumnal, like mixed blend. This is in a nylon sock yarn as well. And I'm trying to decide if I want to make socks out of this or if I want to make like a really cool, I don't know, like dragon scale like cowl that I could wear throughout the winter, because this strikes me as like so perfect for that. But I am in love with it. I'm gonna go and for the Third Fault Yarns, I know that she does online sales, so I'll link her in the description below. So there you have it. I have a bunch of books. I'll do a pan shot, hold on. Did you guys get to make it to Worldcon this year? If so, what was your favorite part? I do have the first half of the booktube panel that I will post online somewhere for everyone to see in case you weren't able to be there. My camera does a thing where it cuts out after about 16 minutes, but Paul did me a solid and I think got the first like 30 minutes. And I don't know, you guys know the drill. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of those good things. If you want to support me over on Patreon, I will link it in the iCards below. I do things like give early access to videos. And I will see you guys really soon. Bye.